Yes, we're here, the Old Skool Movements Podcast, with myself, Mr. Lucas, Chris, Stacks, and Leroy. As you know, we love traveling back in time into the 1980s. But this episode is a very special episode. We're doing it for a podathon for a special cause and charity. So, Chris, what is today's podcast about? What are we exploring today?
It's our first show of the year as well. You know, we've had a little break. We're back with a special show, though. This is to participate in the third edition of Podcastathon. For 1 week, more than 1,000 podcasts will highlight a charity of their choice. And for this episode, we have the pleasure of supporting a great charity, which is Lives Not Knives.
Lives Not Knives.
Lives Not Knives was founded in 2007 when youth violence, gang culture and youth crime was extremely high in the UK. Lives Not Knives began as an awareness campaign to prevent young people from carrying knives, as well as to make parents and adults aware of the true statistics concerning knife crime. So that's what that's the aim of the show today.
Good cause, man. It's a good cause.
Yeah, it's a good cause, man.
We'll put our little spin on it, man.
Yeah. So let's go through these and talk about this subject. But while we're talking about it, we're gonna obviously go back in time as well and reminisce on our days when we were youth, and things were a bit different when we were kids. You know, when we were in school,
Very different.
it wasn't. You didn't have the pressure, I'd say, to carry a knife even.
No.
Back in our day compared to how it is now.
Knives were about in the 80s. Like, we all knew that someone that had a samurai sword hanging on their wall,
Or a butterfly knife or something.
we all had that one mate who lived in the woods and had a Rambo knife with a sewing kit and the compass in it, and
Stick of the dump.
Stick of the dump. We all know a lot of us had that flick comb in our back pocket, like
Yeah.
Fonzarelli. That might have been a white thing, but
Yeah.
a lot of us used to carry that about, man. It's
Yeah, there weren't an Afro version.
there wasn't an Afro version of that, man. There wasn't an Afro version
Afro
of that.
flick comb.
Like, we all knew it wasn't cool carrying a knife. It just wasn't done by majority of our generation, man. If you had beef, you had a little punch up, simple.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what, you didn't go
Yeah.
to take a life. It was more about just teaching someone a lesson, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Guys, so as we're saying, look, we're doing this for Lives Not Knives. And so it's a very serious subject. Between us four, we went to different schools, all four of us.
Yeah.
So did you ever experience anything as tense as what happens in schools now for young males at that age range in secondary school? Any of you?
Nowhere near. I mean, there were kids that would have knives in school, but it was just to show off. It was never to threaten anyone or to, because we had a few kids that were into martial arts and whatever, and martial arts always have weapons. And it was for that reason, but it was never to threaten anyone or to actually do any damage. It's like, oh, look what I got. And they do some tricks with them and whatever. And
It was more like a prop, wasn't it? You're seeing a prop that you've seen in a film, and you're buying it or getting hold of one for that reason, not to do damage to someone, man.
Yeah.
We had some crazy kids in school that would result in picking up stuff, but it was never a knife. It'd be a stick, not I'm gonna say a stick, a big branch or something, or some sort of like a bat sort of thing. There'd be some kids fighting with sticks and shit. I don't know. But still, you'd never go to grabbing a knife from somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's true what you guys are saying. They were like props, because we were big into weapons, but like the whole ninja scene coming, the whole kung fu.
Kung fu was big, man, yeah.
So you're fascinated by nunchucks and poles and ninja stars and samurai swords and all these things. But it was just an extension of our fantasy of like loving lightsabers or Indiana Jones's whip. It was just it's a prop. You
might play in the garden with your ninja star or something, but you wouldn't venture out with them. Even the crazy kids wouldn't venture out with them. It just wasn't done.
It's just strange how it's turned like that. So so Stacks was saying there was a couple of kids with knives in your school, but nothing really happened. Leroy, any conflicts that were serious in your time in secondary school or anything?
No, like Chris said, it was just a punch up. Never saw any kid from primary to secondary school with a knife, and like you said, like you all referenced, the ninja star.
But they were popular,
They were popular, but it's not like, oh, right, wait, I'm going to come back and throw my ninja star at you.
Exactly.
It was never that. So, no, I never saw anything.
Yeah.
Never.
We all went to inner London schools. It's not as though we're from you know, out in the stick schools. We went to London schools
where it was,
you know, and like Leroy was saying, people used to just have a punch up, but like everyone used to crowd round them. Do they do that in your schools where everyone
fight?
Yeah.
Like back in the days, there's no text or nothing, so the rumor spreads quick. Like there's a fight after school. It gets around so quick. The teachers know.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the teachers are waiting at the spot. Hey, what's he doing here? Like, is he gonna referee it
and break it up before it even starts?
Yeah.
Like
So
that was the thing.
Always be the sports teachers.
Yeah,
it's always a sports teacher, isn't it?
They probably could run the fastest. They're like, you lot go out, and if they dust, just grab them, innit?
You'd never get the history teacher standing there, man.
To tell you about the war, to tell you about 1066.
Darren, were you the one, if they were stalling, both the fighters were stalling, you were the one to push?
No.
You're right. There was always one of them.
There was always someone.
Because you know that back to forth thing they used to do when you fight. Come in. You're both saying come in, and someone has to do that push. So that come on then turns into let's have it. Like a physical deficit, that means let's have it. And you just punched up. You didn't look for a bottle or nothing. You didn't. You just punched up, and then so you lived to fight another day, and you know next day for that whole week. It was like physical rap battles. You weren't the flavor for the week, but if you had another fight 2 weeks later, you come back on top again. It's like you know I'm back.
Yeah,
it's
true. It's true.
And some people that have fights laugh about it in about 3 months' time or say, "I remember we
become best friends."
Yeah.
So, I had a best mate after I had a fight with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Best mates.
A lot of people make mates through having a fight.
Yeah, Christopher, if you're listening, because he moved down to Brighton. If you're listening, Chris, no hard feelings.
Oh, so you won then, did you?
Something like that.
Chris might have another version of events.
Yeah, you've got to try and get him on the podcast. So, like, what's changed in that timeline for now for kids our age at that time between, you know, as young as, you know, you got some primary schools. There's some cases with primary school kids.
Younger and younger.
Yeah.
What's the influence that's made them do that?
Yes. So what's happened in that timeline, you know? And you could say that we watched TV like religiously, and what we watched was violence.
Yeah, very
explosions.
Yeah.
We watched adult-rated films.
I don't see that.
We watched horror films, like, and we didn't want to do all that.
It's true.
So something's happened, you know.
Yeah. No, there's a whole group that all blame, you know, kids are up playing these war games. Is it desensitizing them to killing and stuff? And
I think it does a bit.
So, you know, it's always been around, you know, our kids watching horror films, our kids playing X-rated games and
video nasties.
What happened to censorship, man? Some of these games, they're rated like our videos were 18, but you've got 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds, you know, playing it. So again, is this a parent issue as well, where you're not watching what your kids are playing and doing, but somehow I don't see the link really between games and that, because I think all of us have been into, you know, violent combat games, shooting games, watching video nasties.
Operation Wolf, Kung Fu.
Exactly. Most of it, you know, we're all all right, man. We ain't going to go out and do anything crazy. We know the difference between, you know, virtual reality and real life, you know.
But maybe that's the problem. Maybe they don't know the difference between virtual reality and real life.
Do you think maybe use of drugs and cannabis adds to that? So obviously knife crime, I link it to that as well, really. So do you think if we had some sort of where, like the rest of Europe's now getting these shops that sell low THC, low price cannabis, do you think that would help go towards lowering knife crime? You know, maybe removing some dealers off the street, stopping these kids from selling little 10-pound bags of weed or whatever they're doing?
Yeah, but because that's more the thing. It's not the problem of consuming the weed. It's the people that are selling the weed. That's the problem.
People smoking weed ain't going around causing trouble.
Exactly. If you're smoking loads of weed, you're not. So the problem is, the problem is,
you're selling weed and someone has stolen that off you, and then someone's after you, innit? Is that part of it, innit? Is that the circle?
It doesn't matter if it's weed or if it's whatever. It's the
whatever.
whole.
Yeah, I'm just using.
It's the whole project. Yeah, it's the whole prospect of selling something and someone taking over your patch.
What's really, I think, close to linked to that is the rise of drill music. Drill music has sort of made, obviously, you've got an opposition now. Your next door postcode, they're your ops, innit? They're the men you're the gang that you're looking out for, or whatever. And they've sort of made it. I feel like that genre of music has made it, highlighted the fact that this is what you need to do. You need to fight your next door postcodes and whatever. And
I think the drill music is that American gangster rap that we never got
to a different level, though. To a different level.
Yeah,
of
no, I don't think it's to a different level. I think we're generally 10 to 20 years behind America anyway. We never really had a gangster rap era as such. So the drill is our gangster rap era. You know what I mean? And so
you could be right.
I reckon that's because we always talk about how whatever's going on in America is more than likely going to start happening here.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah,
we don't have like loads of guns or whatever,
but
like they do. But like they say, the influence of gangster rap and what's happened in the hood in America, I think drill is that version of it for us.
Yeah, it's true, because because growing up in the 90s, like we watched films like Boys in the Hood, Men's Society, and we looked at them before. Glad we don't have that environment around us. We could watch those films and be safe that we ain't around the corner from that kind of lifestyle. But it's here now. We have touched on some of the things that we've got on the list here, like youth club decline. Like back in our days,
everyone knew or went to a youth club, innit?
Everyone went to a youth club
if you wanted to. Some people weren't regular, paid their subs, whatever. Some people dipped in and out when you just wanted a quick game of snooker or a game of darts or whatever was there.
Yeah, track and field, whatever you want to play.
There was always something.
It kept us entertained, kept us off the street.
Yeah, we were hanging around the streets, no mobile phones, no handheld computers or anything, but we found stuff to do that was, I'm gonna say, normal, normal shit to do, like using youth clubs.
Normal shit that kids should be doing.
Yeah.
Nowadays, what is there for kids to do?
Why is it that they've closed down all of a sudden? Like, if you're seeing a rise in this and that and kids on the streets and so on, why aren't you changing that? Why aren't you changing that?
Weren't they sort of self-funded by you paying your subs? I know, like, most of them were in schools out of hours, weren't they? I know the local ones, to me anyway, were in local schools, sort of maybe 6 to 8 or 7 to 9 or something they might have been going on to. You paid a quid or something, 50p. And I sort of felt like that's what kept them afloat. So as the kids just stopped going, or are they not encouraging, or did, like you say, council shut them down?
Maybe what it is, it could be like all of those factors, but then now you have that handheld thing
you ain't got
that entertains you, or you don't need to leave your yard. I want to play computer games, it's here. I want to chat to my mates, it's here. I could be influenced by all sorts of things by this thing right in my hand.
So I'm thinking the decline of youth clubs was probably more kids now just wanting to stay in, playing these things. But to shut down.
But that necessarily doesn't. Remember, we're talking about knife crime. You're not indoors doing knife crime.
No.
So be
the handful of kids that couldn't afford a computer or have a computer. Then what have they got to do? Now there's no youth clubs.
But remember, it's a different generation. There is no kids who ain't got a computer.
It's true.
It's like there's some form of if you've got a phone, you've practically got a computer. If you've got
games to play in it,
you can do most things. You can. Do you know what I mean? That everyone else is doing. This generation they're not deprived of, let me say, of technology. No. Let's say.
That's probably added. I'd say that's added to the problem. The technology. It's just added to
because to us we see it as technology. To them, it's just a phone. Yeah, and that's what a phone does.
Same with social media. It's just another way of messaging, isn't it? It's not like It's. I think that has probably added to some of our problems. Smartphones, social media, and I must admit, I was one of the kids back in the 80s that liked a Rambo knife, liked a Ninja Star, and as soon as eBay come about, I found a way of purchasing these things very easily online. I bought a few different bits and pieces for my collection, which most of it I don't own anymore anyway. But back when eBay first come out, that was a very easy way to buy a knife or a sword or any sort of weapon, really. Ninja Stars, they're all there. No one checks them.
No one's checking for age or nothing.
No one checks your age.
Making money. Yeah.
If you can log into a phone and get onto eBay, you can purchase a knife. And I think, again, that sort of seems like around the time where knife crime really started getting big and blowing up, I'd say, man. You know, everybody, you know, who couldn't just go walk into a shop. Getting one from a shop, I can imagine it's got to be harder than buying one off of eBay.
No, some like before they were checking, you could just go Sainsbury's, Tesco's, go kitchenware.
I would have never thought that would have been possible in my lifetime. I would have thought they would have done some sort of check and say, look, you know, you need a parent with you or somebody to buy.
Well, I think now they do, but I think there was a stage where they weren't checking.
It was sell it to anyone, isn't it?
Yeah,
crazy.
But it's a big. I think it's just a big mentality thing and mindset. Like going back to the youth club thing, it's like, okay, you're not guaranteed to have kids going there every day, but it makes it an option now. Do you know what I mean? Because that's why kids hang outside shopping malls or fast food joints and stuff, because
they don't have an option to
there's
go
no
somewhere.
there's no option. Do you know what I mean? I remember back again, not sugarcoating it, we saw things happening when we were young, but not on this scale. Everyone used to hang outside Jaska's. Just standing outside a shop that's closed. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just kids. It doesn't matter what generation, what decade. Kids are always going to want a focal point to
congregate.
It's always going to happen. But that's after coming from the youth club. People were hanging outside Jaska's. So again, so that's the option. But if we didn't have a youth club, we'll just be standing on the high street all day into the evening. And that's when conflicts happen, because that's when a kid who you don't recognise is shopping or something, and someone in your group's going to want to start on him, and that's how stuff happens. Do you know what I mean?
True.
And that's what kids are going through now.
Here's a question for you. Did we ever have that back in the day? Like, I don't remember being anywhere and seeing a kid that wasn't from the area getting troubled.
I don't remember seeing that. I've seen it.
That came into it. That came in where you're from. That did come into it.
That was a big question back in growing up. Where are you from? You know, and if you was from West and you're saying it to a South person, there may be something happening. Just because you're from West London, and vice versa. You know, so it did exist, but the levels that it's at now, the access to knives, you know, the whole balaclava in disguise wearing, look, it's gone to another level.
Yeah, it's gone to a level, man.
I think what you said, Darren, levels, the levels that it's gone to, because, you know, I witnessed an incident, you know, a few years ago, and the size of the knives now,
it's crazy,
and they call them zombie knives.
Zombie knives, man.
They're like Sinbad swords. Those are what you would see in Sinbad, watching Sinbad.
Yeah. You know
what I mean? And he had a tiger or whatever.
Yeah.
Why would you put that down your pants and just want to carry it? Like, it's crazy.
And it's even dangerous to them.
The only reason you got that on you is to do damage to someone. You're not going to take that out
to
to
do
protect
damage.
Yourself. Yeah.
And again, we could probably go back and possibly relate it to the music, because again, it's like, if you're bullied, because the argument I've heard kids say is, we carry a knife for protection. So if someone tries it, we're ready.
That did happen in our day, but the knife was like 2 inches long. It wasn't going to do a lot of damage.
It was a bloody Swiss Army. That's why you could put out a screwdriver by accident.
Yeah. It wasn't to chop off someone's arms. So but is this happening because, or are the kids just buying these knives to show that they've got a knife, and hopefully the guys go away?
I think for me, in our day, I'm not trying to say that our day was better, but but in our day, it was to maim. But today,
it's to end
they're
life.
killing.
Yeah.
It's to end. It's not like, all right, to ward off a gang.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm looking to plunge it in and finish you off.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
These kids, it's like, as we were saying earlier, when we heard there was a fight, we knew it was going to be a punch up. So there was an audience. So there was, you know, you got your popcorn out, so to speak. But if you know it's happening now, someone could die.
Yes, mate. if I was with my mentality now, if I was in school now with the brain I got, and there's a fight going, I ain't going.
No, it's not. I ain't going.
I ain't going.
No, you're not.
Because
you're not.
it becomes gang related
And
now.
it's collateral damage.
And then if they can't get the person they intended to get,
Right.
because you was there, they'll chase you down the road and kill you.
Wrong place, wrong time, one of them. Plenty of them go on, man, where it's the wrong person, wrong place, wrong time.
It's just the wrong person.
That's so sad.
It's all about reputation. You don't want to be seen as soft, but aren't you thinking about your individual future, your individual outcome?
They don't think that.
Yeah, that's the obstacle you got to stop at.
They know it's inevitable that they're going to go to jail, so it's like doesn't matter. It's going to happen.
But why think like that? But why have that mindset?
Exactly.
It's that mindset that needs to be changed.
The funny thing is, the kids aren't deprived of education. There is school, and you have to go. So they're not stupid. It's not.
Yeah.
You might not be the cleverest in the class, but you're still
being educated.
You know what I mean? You're still being educated. So the possibilities for what you could do in the future are still more than available for you.
Yeah.
Such a shame.
You know what I mean?
I think the statistics, though, of kids that are convicted of knife crime are probably have been dismissed from school at some point. You know, they've either been suspended loads of times or expelled and then sort of lost inside some sort of care system that they should be in, like a rehabilitation. I think that it's at that point, you know, these kids, I'm thinking when these kids are like 13, 12, 13, 14, that sort of age, unless it can be picked up then, you know, if a kid's been suspended 3 times and then expelled, they can't just be left to go and find, a rougher school to join. They need to be taken out now and have some sort of, could this escalate in the future? We need to step in, which is where I think there should be some sort of boot camp. That's the only way I can think of it. That there's no school or no institute that I can think that can analyze
and you out.
Yeah, that's going to straighten you out and put you back into society as, you know, a reasonable person with empathy and love for their brothers and whatever. I can't think of any other way. There needs to be, I don't think national service, because I think half these kids, the army probably wouldn't want them, but there needs to be some sort of tough boot camp where they don't take no shit. I don't know.
But again, the thing is, now it's gotten to a point where it's not the average troublemaker. As we were saying, some kids carry knives just so they don't get troubled, and then they end up being a killer. Just through self-defense,
or getting stabbed with their own knife sometimes,
or whatever situation. It's not always the troublesome kid. It's a situation.
Yeah.
Look, it starts at home, obviously, with learning your P's and Q's. Just having respect.
That seems like
respect and being disciplined.
I think once you've learned your disciplines, when you go through life, if you see something wrong, you should be able to walk away from it.
Yeah.
So you should be able to walk down the street with your mates and they say, oh, those boys are coming, we're going to fight them. You should be able to go, no, I'm not on it, I'm going
across the road.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Do you know what I mean? You should be able to do that, but that doesn't feel like it's happening.
I think another thing as well, back in our days, like you say, discipline. Back in our days, we were beaten if we were bad. If we'd done something wrong, I was anyway. You know, I used to get beats if I was bad. But then I think during the 90s or something, there was a big thing about hitting children. You know, shouldn't smack children, you shouldn't do this, and it got to a point where parents are scared of disciplining their children. I feel it is the back end of our generation, sort of the parents that were growing up through the 90s, maybe a bit into the noughties, but you got to the point where you thought like either the school's going to grasp me up if my kid was ever to say, oh, my dad hit me, mum hit me, the school's going to say something, and you're going to have social services on your back or something. And I think parents just got really scared to discipline their kids.
Well, I think you're right. That's what they've done.
They've got no respect.
They made it illegal to beat them.
Yeah.
They made it illegal to beat your kid because I think someone took it overboard and they beat a kid and the kid died. And so there was like, and I don't really condone beating children, but when you think about it,
our generation to the younger generation today, we were
like the fear that we had of our parents stopped us from getting in trouble. Because it's like, right, if my mum catches me, the beating's going to be worse than this kid. It's going to be way worse than this you here.
And it's not even about getting a beating. It's just about getting that one lesson from your parents. So when you get that look, you go, do you know what?
I've let them down, or I've fucked up.
I'm not. Do you know what I mean? But it's that thought process isn't there anymore, and
they're fearless of authority, disrespectful, and I say there's no empathy. No, kids can't feel like know how they're making others feel. Like it's almost like they're selfish these days. Like as long as I'm all right.
Yeah,
and something weird there, man.
And that's the question. That's the question that we've got to, answer. Like, why? How has it come to this? Like, Leroy.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it starts from home. You know,
I think you're right, mate. A lot of it does start.
You know, society does, teach you, and if you don't, ground, those principles, those morals, those standards, it gets lost, and then society takes over, and educates your child. Yeah. So I just think it starts from there. And also, I've got a friend who's a headmaster of a school, and he says one of the big problems is that older boys are grooming the school kids and getting them into gangs.
Yeah. Because they know the law can't touch, certain age. They can't. Yeah. They're going to get a caution. They're going to don't do it again. They're not going to get in trouble like someone over 18.
So have we kind of, with that, what were you saying that, Chris? Have we kind of answered why little kids carry knives and stab each other? Because of that reason, because they won't get a long sentence, because the bigger guys are going to big them up and put them on later. Do they see that as a better way than going the educational way? Yeah. Because if you're young and the bigger guys tell you, look, you hold these drugs for me, or do what you need to do,
or whatever.
And I'll give you 100 quid. And if you do get caught, you're only getting a little sentence. You're a minor, so it's not nothing's going to happen. So do you know what I mean?
There's a lot of that grooming going on. There's a lot of that.
So with that, those same young kids, they become the groomers to the next generation. Yeah. And then that could be the pattern. And then
move up
it's a
the
cycle.
Line.
Yeah.
And all it takes is like to show them one new pair of Jordans, one new iPhone 16, one PS5. These are things that all kids want, and if their parents ain't buying it for them,
they're going to look elsewhere.
The stuff's expensive, like cost of living's expensive. Certain parents are probably struggling.
Yeah. But also what's changed about this, again, it's in every area. It's, back in the day, there were certain areas you knew were kind of no-go areas, but this can be anywhere now, literally.
Anywhere.
Yeah. So London has got the majority because London has got the most people, but anywhere, you're right. Anyway, even backstreet country places where you would never expect it.
Well, statistically, the highest numbers for knife crime is Glasgow or Middlesbrough, I think, in the country.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I heard about Glasgow.
Glasgow
you have to think about what's going on up there.
Terrible knife crime. Yeah. And another thing as well, when our parents, used to let us go out, Darren brought it up in a show before, where's Darren? He's out gallivanting. But there was no worry about, like you guys are parents, your kids are getting to that stage now. And it's a case of,
you can't let them out.
I've got to worry. I can't let them out. Do you know what I mean?
This day and age, you can track them and phone them. You couldn't do that with us. We were once we'd left the house, no one knew where we were, but our parents felt safe with us going out. Can't do that these days.
It's different. You can't do it.
Well, I felt like as a kid going out, there was actually, your parents were it was only when Stephen Lawrence thing happened. That was when my mum started getting on to me about where you going, how long you're going to be, who you're going to be with. It was literally when that happened, that's when she started. That's when she started to get really worried about it.
Being a little bit more cautious.
Yeah.
800 stabbings in London in the last year or whatever it's been. It's like, come on, man. Like it's a matter of time now, isn't it? It's going to happen.
That's the thing. Your kids might ask you to go to festivals or something like that.
Mine wants to go, and I'm like, I don't want you to go.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't want you to go.
Yeah. But I don't know if it's the same with you, but with girls, I find that there's kind of less of a chance of something like that. If I had boys now, it's a whole different other story. It's a whole for me. That's the way I see it.
The way I see it at the moment, I see it doesn't really matter. I know what you mean. You do feel a girl's a little bit safer out there. You know, they're going to avoid them situations and them areas, you hope. But I don't know, you know, I don't think it matters these days. People stab each other like, you know, again, there's no empathy. They don't care. Yeah, they don't care, man.
Yeah. And, you know, it's they've got to understand the ripple effect this is causing. Like, you know, especially if it's murder, like you've killed someone, so now you've destroyed a life, you destroyed a family's life, you've destroyed your life, and you destroyed your family's life.
And the jurors, I know people who have been on jury service at the Old Bailey for these sort of trials. They're affected for life after what they hear and see. They're affected.
You have to be.
It's not fair, man. It's they don't think of that bigger picture.
No,
the bigger picture needs to be thought about. Like, do you guys reckon, this might sound wild, do you guys reckon if let's just say, in an ideal world, for 1 year, like every drill artist, whatever rap artist, the music they made was only about having a good time. It was only about love. Do you think that would change? Do you think that would change?
You know, it would. You know why?
It's a massive influence.
I don't think people understand the power of sound and vibration.
Yeah,
people don't understand how powerful music is. The music is actually, for me, the most powerful thing. Yeah. And so once those vibes change, you're just gonna want to have a good time. Unless you're like, nah, I don't like these tunes.
We did during the 90s. As soon as we started hearing house and drum and bass, it was like, wow, like there's no one's fighting anyone. Everyone's too busy having fun.
The power of music, especially we're talking like mid to late 80s. Racism's massive. Football hooligans are massive. There's a massive divide in the community, and that music just brought everyone together instantaneously.
And the mad thing about it is that we're saying this, but we all listen to NWA. We all listen to gangster rap, or so-called gangster rap. And I don't know how you guys saw it, but I guess you did. I saw listening to that the same way I would watch an Arnold Schwarzenegger film. I know it's just a story. I know it's just something to entertain me. It's not something I'm going to live by.
Do you reckon
the next day,
because we were so detached from it, it's like it's happening a world away? It's do you reckon
doesn't
that's
affect
why?
us. We can dip into it. It's not affecting us. Like
to a degree.
I get you. I feel like it's just like a movie. You're just listening.
It's like a movie.
Yeah.
Darren as well. I remember when you guys used to go to your raves, and then you'd come back to the club. And I remember Damien and yourself and everyone, we battled by dancing.
That's how it was
now
done.
Today that would sound like, what? You battled by dancing? It was South London versus West London. And it's and Damien, I done this move, blah, 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 blah. And then Sean came in and Curtis came in. And that's what I used to hear and romanticize. In my mind, like, damn, I wish I was there.
You could settle beef with a rap battle or a breaking battle back in the 80s, man. You definitely didn't have to resort to violence.
But
it sounds like, what? What did you do?
It happened.
That's how it should be now.
We went to areas and battled it out.
Your crew would battle their crew.
Battled it out.
Rap battle, breaking battle, whatever was going on.
Crazy. And it was a thing. It was, and that after there wasn't like no one's gonna pull out a knife after I want to fight you. It's like you lost the battle.
You either walk off or you sort of make up in it. You either become that was bad, we're done or whatever, or you just walk off and forget about it. That's it. It's done. You're the loser.
Yeah, and that's a mild extension of what used to happen in London. Like people used to literally get the lino out and battle. Different people on the streets and
lino.
And they probably hated each other, but that's how they dealt with it. You know?
Do you think, obviously we were talking about things that we think maybe have made things worse these days. How do you feel like the streets have got after lockdown? Like, you know, for me, no one wore face masks, no one wore balaclavas, no one covered their face, you know, back before lockdown. But since then, it's become the norm. Like in the 80s, only the IRA wore balaclavas. Now you're seeing kids in the summer, balaclavas on. It's like, come on, gloves on, you know, tracksuit bottom around their arse. It's like, come on, man. To buy a belt. I need to buy a belt, pair of jeans, take the balaclavas off, man. I don't know. I feel since lockdown, it's become worse for.
Worse. I think before. I think before.
I think it's already on its way before lockdown.
Well, I think it was already there because when was the riots? The London riots.
That was pre-lockdown.
2011 or something
Yeah,
like that.
that was pre-lockdown.
Before.
Yeah. I forgot.
Yeah,
about them,
so
actually.
a lot of that has just been happening. You know, you know, a lot of
I
crews
feel
have gone
lockdown's
to
made
Carnival.
it easier. Then it's easier to go into a shop now with your face covered, whereas before you'll be told you can't come in here unless you take your hoodie off or take your helmet off or whatever. Nowadays everyone's covered up. All
And
the
not
kids
only
are
that, now the
covered up.
electric bikes are making it easier for them to get
I was
away.
going to bring them up, mate. I was going scooters and electric bikes. I'm sure have made crime in
added to
general,
the whole thing.
shoplifting, street robberies. The way now the London roads are designed is for these vehicles. Cars ain't catching them. Yeah.
The main problem we're trying to get our heads around is the rising knife crime and the ever rising knife crime in our country. Such young people taking each other's lives and messing up their own lives. But Chris, you got some knife crime statistics, right?
Yeah, got a few little stats on London knife crime taken from last year. There's over 17 serious offences involving knife crime per every 10,000 residents. London was recorded as the highest knife crime rate in the country. The scale of London's knife crime statistics is staggering, total incidents being 3 times higher than any other police force's area. London also has the most robbery offences involving a knife, with a rate of just over 11 offences per 10,000 people, and that's 4 times higher than any other area in the country. With police cuts and lesser police present, more emphasis has fallen on youth support networks such as Lives Not Knives to guide vulnerable and easily led young people into education and employment and away from gang culture and crime in general.
Yeah.
With London at the centre of an already huge problem, Lives Not Knives' role is hugely important. Croydon, where they're based, has the largest under 18 population in London, meaning Croydon has the worst record of knife crime in schools out of any other London borough. Just talking about knife crime in schools, that you shouldn't be using them 2 words in the same sentence, man. It's ridiculous, man. In schools, should we have like metal detectors, like how again we used to see that in American schools in the 80s in films, innit? And I think we need that. I think we need to be using them knife arches.
Do you know what I mean? And so that's why I'm saying the individual has to really check what they're doing and think.
And take responsibility and accountability.
And I think that comes with a youth club, with mentors, with ex-offenders telling them what to do. Because I remember there was a youth club I used to go to on Friday nights, and it started at like 7:30 and finished all hours in the night, because this youth club knew that we would be out on the streets on Friday nights, getting up to no trouble.
The longer they can keep them in,
the longer you can keep us somewhere,
the longer you're going to keep you alive.
When we can watch videos, eat cheese toasties, listen to music. It had all the stuff that we would have been loitering trying to do. And this ain't to stop. This ain't to stop stabbings. This is to stop loitering. This is to
exactly. Just stop loitering. Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean?
And also within that place, you might have someone that will inspire you.
Exactly.
Want to be something.
You want to
whatever it is whatever interest it is. They'll be like, try and
exactly
encourage you to do more of that.
Exactly.
That you'll probably find as well links back to, again, like I said earlier, a lot of these kids who go through the system with being arrested with knives and stuff, either they're expelled from school or they're probably missing a male figure in their life, I'd say, at home or wherever.
Or wherever.
Without that somebody else from a youth centre or, a karate club or a football club, that mentor that they can look up to and think, you know what, I want to be like them.
Exactly.
Without that, what have you got to look forward to?
Yeah.
Violence among young people has changed, and that's why incredible charities like Lives Not Knives are working tirelessly to make a difference. Lives Not Knives supported 431 young people aged between 10 and 14 during the school holidays of 23-24, and they provided 640 meals throughout the year. 100% said they enjoyed the food, they felt safe, they felt happy, they made new friends, and they wanted to come back again. Through the holidays, they provided workshops and learning activities for kids, including visits to the BBC studios, visits to Brighton Beach, basketball coaching, photography workshops.
This is all Lives Not Knives.
All what
that's really
man.
good, man.
Yeah.
That's really good.
It cost them $5 a day to feed a young person. So, if you guys can support and want to help their mission, create safer communities, please check out the donation link in our description. We'll be on social media. We'll have some links out there to their website and to donate. You can do an ongoing donation or you can just do one-off donations. But I'm sure anything you can do to give them is going to help. And, giving to them, you might actually change them statistics a little bit and help out.
any way you can help, you know, but it's a serious matter, and what Lives Not Knives are doing is incredible.
And I think our generations as parents, we need to be doing something, you know, whether it's, you know, if you've got kids at school, check their school bags, make sure they're not going out, you know, with
definitely
things they shouldn't have. But yeah, if you can give to Lives Not Knives, it'd go a long way. And they're doing a lot. They're doing a lot to help kids, man. It's all good work.
Yeah, you know, any change is a change, you know. So
yeah, exactly.
It'd be great.
Exactly.
It'd be great. But I said, you know, probably going to touch on this again at some point, and help the cause.
Lads, thank you for touching on this subject, because it is a major concern, you know, and we've all got, you know, children, nephews, nieces, you know, who need protection and guidance.
Yeah, and guidance, definitely, man.
You know, so thank you very, very much for bringing this topic up, man.
That's all right, man.
This subject up.
So Chris, you got anything closing to say?
So this is going to sort of wrap up our special edition of Old School Movements. Yeah, now we've taken time out to talk about a serious issue and the rise of knife crime. The aim of this is as well, we're supporting the Podcasthon that's running between the 15th and the 21st. So tune in. There's some great other causes out there. Keep spreading the message. There's other amazing podcasters like us that are chatting about their charities. So have a look at www.podcasthon.org. Have a listen to some other podcasts as well as ours. And just, thanks for listening. Stay safe, man. Stay old school.
Thank you for listening, man.
Yeah, keep listening. I know Chris is kindly promoting other podcasts, but just go through our whole catalogue.
Listen to our lot first. Yeah, our lot first.
You know, we're the best podcast in the world, man. If Carlin done podcast, Old School Movement
would probably be the best podcast in the world.
Come on, you know this. Man.
If you want to reminisce back to the 80s, go back to the 80s and the 90s. But I've been Mr. Lucas.
I'm Chris.
I'm Stax.
And I'm the Last Dragon. And you know this, man.
Until next time, guys. We're back for you all this year, giving you the 80s revival, no doubt. Remember, check us out on TikTok. Come and like our stuff on TikTok. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out everywhere.
Loads of memories on TikTok.
Come on, guys. Join the band. Peace.
Until next time. Peace.